Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I've been doing this whole YouTube rigmarole for quite some time now. So long, in fact, that it actually hurts my soul when I go back and watch some of my older, cringier videos. Luckily, you find people are very forgiving and seem to want to continue to watch my videos. In the spirit of the quick shifter versus clutchless shifting video I did, I thought I'd go back and update my most viewed video, the 7 beginner riders you will meet, which has over 2.9 million views. It was by all measures a smash hit. But there was some information, some jokes, and some unsavory flavors in that video. So let's go through it and make some better jokes, update some info, and hell, we'll even throw 2 new characters in that we've discovered since releasing that video. So beginner riders, the bread and butter of my channel, the reason that so many of you are here. They are the sole purpose that we make so much content. In fact, 44% of the people watching this video at this very moment do not even own a motorcycle. If you are one of those lonely bikeless bros, don't worry, just drop a comment so we can press F to pay respects. Being a newbie rider is pretty tough. You're trying to manage a brand new lifestyle, look cool in front of all your friends, and make sure you don't drop that pretty bike you saved up all that coin for. But here's the thing, through a lot of gumption and realization that literally millions of people before you have jumped into this insane hobby, and a small percentage of them even started by watching this channel too, you will be able to navigate the world of 2 wheels and be a great motorcyclist. Let's take a look at some of the characters who are just starting out on bikes. Number 1. The A1 and A2 licensed squid. One of the big blind spots from my last video was our sweet European brethren who have to endure limited access to motorcycles when they start out. The A1 squid is capped to a mere 15 horsepower, so cracking power wheelies and flexing on people with your sick ride might be a little tough. The A2 squid, while they have a little more access, is capped to 47 horsepower, so while we're making fun of riders for the 300s here in the States, that's a level 2 and desirable motorcycles for young riders out there in the EU and Australia too. Not to mention that in India, the Ninja 300 is seen as an aspirational bike to own, more so for price rather than license. The A1 Squid can be seen riding around on their R125s, the premier and patrician A1 bike as everyone knows, with a full illegal system on it, cranking out as loud as it can possibly go. Wearing full leathers and hoping that no one notices they're on a smaller machine. They'll leave dozens of comments on my videos with very sad emojis saying, "A1 bro here, RIP. And then when they ascend to A2 status, they'll ping me non-stop by saying, "Yammie, what A2 bike should I get?" And you already know I'm going to tell you to get a Turbo Busa, so why bother? Which brings us to number 2, the Turbo Busa starter. Well, I didn't think this would actually be the case, but after months, if not years of memeing on the Turbo Busa, the godlike bike that it is, even though 650 Ebe has told me several times that they suck, I don't believe you, Ebe, and I don't care. There are apparently some folks who have decided to swing a leg over Turbo Busa. Now, you might be saying, wow, who would be foolish enough to try that? And to that I say, excuse me, my dude, but it takes a certain level of intellect to ride a Turbo Busa as your first bike. These riders have brains so large that they require a 7XL helmet in order to fit all of that cranium. Their heads are so large that they were mistaken for a prize squash at the local fair. Their brains are so massive that they are considered a miracle of modern science. There are so many X's in the sizing of their heads, it's considered explicit by the MPAA. Their necks are so strong that the torque they can generate can make a Harley fat boy crack a woolie on power alone. If there was ever a time for it, that's a thick-ass boy! Damn! They walk into cycle gear and they are directed to the beach ball head section of the store. The tape measure broke when they were trying to size up this extremely smart individual's head as well. Let it be warned, it takes a very high intellect to start on a Turbo Busa. Never forget. Number 3, the research rider and no research rider. These two exist in a yin and yang-like situation, sort of like that one boss from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You know the one. It was in the Gerudo Desert. I think it was like the 2 spirits or something. Hold up, ironically now I have to research this because I don't remember. After a quick Google search, it's Twin Rova. That's right. Anyways, yeah, these two are like Twin Rova. One of them decided to spend 9 months Googling every single little thing they possibly could about motorcycles, uncovering the secrets of the Mayan people along the way, until they finally pulled the trigger on a Ninja 300. Versus the absolute chad of a person who woke up one day and said, LMAO, I'm gonna buy a bike. And they went and got a GSXR 600 with an 11.99% loan, because YOLO and full tribal tattoos. You'll quickly be able to spot these two diametrically opposing riders since they could not be further apart. Number 4, the high schooler who strapped a lawnmower engine on a bicycle. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's 2 wheels, there's a squid. This 16-year-old has a lot of gumption and they will JB weld their way into glory as they duct tape a lawnmower engine with a makeshift throttle onto a bicycle in order to simulate and approximate the experience of being on a motorcycle. As crude of an example as it may be, riding a lawnmower engine bicycle is kind of like using a fleshlight instead of having sex. Like, yes, it's pretty close and they've gotten pretty good with that simulation style flesh, but it's just not the same feeling as cracking open the throttle on a machine with a proper engine and frame. But to be honest, I wouldn't know, I'm a virgin. You gotta hand it to the kid though, the desire to rip around on two wheels is so strong that they went and set this thing up to do it. Pretty cool. They'll tell you how it actually has a lot of feel and is really a fun bike to ride, and by our own definition, they're on a motorized vehicle with two wheels, so they are a biker, so by God, you will give them the wave if you see them illegally riding on the other side of the road. Godspeed, Brandon. Godspeed. Drink that Monster Energy. Number 5, the Cafe Racer Starter. Some people are born with an affinity for sadomasochism. The guy who bought a beat-up 1970s UJM as a project bike as his first bike is truly a glutton for punishment, wrenching about 90% of the time, and the other 10% of their time they're taking it around the block to check on those carbs and troubleshooting about 50 different things as well, but they'll be damned if they don't buy every single piece of lifestyle apparel that they can get from Triumph, Ducati, and Deus Ex Machina, because they are a real rider. Built, not bought, bro. Sorry, and I don't mean to be a jerk to you, but if you owned a bike and you put on less than 300 miles in the first year that you owned it, and your gear is still all nice and fresh, you're not really learning a whole lot, are you? You gotta go out and ride, my bro. Save the project bike for a side thing. Buy a good bike that runs well as your first, and start accumulating miles in the saddle like billionaires are accumulating wealth in America. Let's go! Number 6, the 1000cc starter. Now you might imagine that this is just a downgrade from the patrician Turbo Busa, bro. While the Turbo Busa does do J-turns in the raid and cries about the loss of his friend, the 1000cc starter is a completely different sort of animal. It takes a special sort of person to look at a top spec 1000cc sport bike that in reality is a race bike with headlights most of the time, built for experienced and demanding riders to rip around on racetracks with all of your hubris. You look at these facts and say, yep, this is my first time with motorcycles, but you know what? This is a great idea. These guys are out there riding to survive every second of every day. They whisper on the throttle, get a whiff of near 200 horsepower that it has to offer, and immediately regret their decisions. There's a reason you see brand new leader bikes all over Craigslist with under 2,000 miles. We call those broken dream motorcycles, especially the Ducatis, as they are purchased by people with more money than sense as a fashion accessory. I know they look really cool and you look super dope when you're on it, but these are not toys and they will eat you alive if you don't respect what they're capable of. To be honest, I've put down plenty of miles in the saddle, done quite a few track days myself, ridden dozens of different bikes, and every time I ride a leader bike, I question whether there is a God and if they are watching over me. Seriously, these are so fast. Number 7, the dirt bike starter dude. This one we mentioned in our original video, but there's a smug sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing you are intimately familiar with the motorcycle's operations during your MSF course. And it's true. Certain riders approach street riding with a massive handicap in that they've been ripping around dirt bikes for years before approaching a street bike. But to my dirt bros, be warned. The street is a very different place than the dirt. While you're out on the dirt, and keep in mind I have some limited experience with dirt biking, you just need to focus on going in one direction. You have some whoops and changes in elevations, and the surface is slippery, but those knobbies provide ample grip, and you don't have to worry about traffic laws because there are none. Street riding is very, very different. You have to abide by all the rules, be mindful of the people on the road, develop that sixth sense for what that stupid cager is about to do when he merges in your lane. So while you might think you've got it in the bag by being a dirt bro, come at it from a humble place so you can be as safe and competent a rider as you can be, even though you're already cracking mega dank woolies on the reg. Number 8, the 650 starter. This is a wave of rider nowadays, given the advent of internet motorcycle culture, forum scouring, etc. that says the only way to start on the street is with the 650. A parallel twin 650cc motorcycle is the only way to go if you live in America and you want to have a bike that you don't outgrow in 2 days, because everyone knows that if you buy a 300, you'll be bored of it and you'll think it's slow within 48 hours, obviously. The 650cc starter carries themselves with the air of someone who has made the optimal and best decision. They know their motorcycle is the righteous way, the only way, and they will shame you for deciding to ride on any other motorcycle as your first. You guys might be a little annoying, but hey, they're not wrong. A 650 is an amazing starter bike, provided you're nice and easy on the throttle and you don't get in over your head. Because a brand new rider on a machine with roughly 70 horsepower can be a recipe for disaster if they aren't ready for the low down grunt and unrelenting torques of a 650. And finally, number 9. The scooter dude. Can we classify them as motorcyclists? Is there some motorcycle regulatory body that will smite me for saying this? Honestly, Scooter Dude is a hell of a guy. If you want to hang out with someone that has no pretense, is totally sure of themselves, isn't out there just repping a two-wheel vehicle that's cheap to run, gets them from A to B and is enjoyable, then the Scooter Bro is your dude. Although motorcyclists like to lampoon scooters since they're not seen as real bikes in our eyes, I gotta be honest, scooters are pretty fun to ride. The old adage does hold true. Scooters are a lot like vape pens. You might think it's pretty cool when you're by yourself, but then your friend catches you with one and you never live it down. Don't vape, kids. It's pretty lame. And that's gonna wrap up today's video, my fine squids. What do you think? Did I miss any wonderful beginner riders? Do you think I took a lot of cocaine? Because I took a lot of cocaine before I made this video. Are you a beginner rider yourself, and do you feel attacked because I outed you in this video? Let me know in the comments below. I always love reading your notes that you leave for your sweet papa. And in case you're interested, we've got our Yamaha FC07 ready to go for our giveaway. You still have time to enter to win and support the series, so head on over to our Patreon page to learn more about it. And as a note, our next bike will be brand spanking new, and it will likely be a small displacement sport bike like an R3 or an RC390. Patreons will be voting on it, so if you want the chance to help choose the next bike, sign up and get started. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Fact: Yammie Noob does not endorse, condone, or encourage your weak wheelies. Crack those suckers into the mega dank nooners you know they can be, because Lord knows I can barely wheelie myself, so do it for Papa. Goodbye.